Hello everyone, welcome to an Unstoppable You podcast with your host, Gabby Company. When we are running a business, sometimes it's very hard to be visible and start attracting clients in an organic way. Today my guest is James Taris. He's running his own publishing company and he's going to share with us powerful techniques about how to be more visible in the marketplace, how to publish your own book. Hello, James.
Hello,
welcome.
Gabby.
Welcome to the podcast, and thank you for being with us.
It's my pleasure.
Could you tell us a little bit about yourself, please?
I'm married. I have 4 children, 6 grandchildren, so very lucky in that area. I started off career-wise in photography. Then I went into sales. From there, I then went into desktop publishing, doing newsletter layouts, designing brochures, business cards, letterheads, all that sort of stuff. And finally, I settled on publishing books.
Mm-hmm. I'm aware that your life is amazing, has different chapters, from flying attendant, flying to different countries, being an author, an actor. Could you tell us, please, how did you find the ability and courage to reinvent constantly yourself and run in different industries?
Well, I always looked, and I still look out for opportunities to improve myself, to do better in life, whether it's income-wise or mainly creative-wise. I'm really a creative person. So it was a matter of would this interest me? Would I develop personally from this, and so forth. So when the opportunities presented themselves, I took advantage of them.
That's important. That reminds me a quote. Richard Branson always says, take the opportunity, say yes, and then work it out the how. Mm-hmm. Well done. How did you become a flight attendant at the age of 18 years old? Because at that age, probably kids are studying at the school, working, or being a social environment.
Well, it's a funny story actually, because my father moved the whole family back to Greece when I was 18. I just finished high school, and he basically found me a job as a plumber's apprentice, and I wasn't happy because I was only earning $5 a day at the time. Luckily, I had a godfather who had come across an opportunity for flight attendants. They were taking on flight attendants. This is in Athens, Olympic Airways, and they were looking for applications for people who could speak 3 languages, who were educated. I could speak English, of course. My parents were Greek, so I had that. And I'd studied 4 years of French. I applied and I was accepted, so very fortunate.
Mm-hmm. How do you manage the responsibilities and pressure of having that job?
I didn't know there was any pressure at the time. I was 18, I was very excited. Going to Greece was my first flight, and that, the first time I'd ever seen clouds from the top rather than just from the bottom. So I was really thrilled. And flight attendant is, you make sure that the passengers have their newspaper, they have their orange juice, their water, and so forth. No pressure. I wasn't afraid of flying or anything like that, so it was fine. It was a dream job.
Yes, of course. Yeah. How do you manage to fly across 14 countries without money?
Oh, that's a different chapter in my life. I put together this website. It was called letslinkup.com. Mm-hmm. It was a directory of Let's groups around the world. Now, Let's, LETS, stands for Local Exchange Trading Systems. I do something for you, you do something for her, she does something for somebody else, and so forth. And all the trade, if you want to call it that, is done using points and not dollars, okay? And I wanted to find out firsthand how these groups were operating, because they all had their own twist and their own way of doing things around the world. Mm-hmm. And so I had 1,500 groups on the website, and I contacted them all, and I basically said, look, I'd like to come and visit you and see how you're running things, and while I'm there, I'd like to help you out by looking at the paperwork that you use. I can do interviews for radio, newspapers, TV, that sort of thing. And I'll also run a seminar where I'll explain the LET system to people that are prospects to join, and will actually increase your membership.
You're unstoppable.
Thank you. And in return, all I asked was for them to treat me as they would a relative who was going to come and visit for a week or so. And I always told them it's going to be about a week. Just make sure that I've got somewhere to sleep, that you feed me so I don't die of starvation. Okay, and I've got some use of the internet, because I was blogging myself around the world, my way around the world, before blogging was a thing, actually. So, and this is going back to 2002 when I first started that.
Also, I'm aware that you use fear as a motivator in your life. Could you tell us, please, what is fear? How are you using fear as a motivator in your life?
Okay. I wrote a book on fear, okay? Here it is. Good Fear, Bad Fear for Winners. Basically, and I need to thank my good friend Arthur Lee, who runs networking meetings around Melbourne. And I remember asking him when I was researching my book, what do you think when I say the fear of failure? And he said to me, it means that I've got to make sure that I don't fail. I've got to do everything I need to do to succeed. Mm-hmm. Whereas normally people hear about the fear of failure and they think, oh, I better not try. Mm-hmm. What if I fail? Then I'll look like an idiot. Okay, so that's the bad fear. You see, the bad fear holds you back. It enslaves you. All right, where the good fear is basically saying, yeah, things could go wrong, but I'm not going to let it. I'm going to be determined to make sure that I actually succeed because of it. Because I feel it, I don't want to feel it anymore. All right, so I'm going to do my best to make sure that it works for me.
Yeah, you're right. Fear is not going to disappear forever. It's funny to hear sometimes when people come to me and they say, Gabby, could you help me to delay fear? Fear is a mechanism of self-protection. Could you give a message to people that probably right now they are facing fear?
First of all, there's no such thing as being fearless. There's no such thing as being able to conquer fear. Fear is with us every minute of the day in one form or another, all right, whether it's good fear or bad fear. And know that all fear is the fear of the unknown. We're afraid because we don't know what's going to happen, all right? So my suggestion is that, okay, you look at the situation. I want to do this. What if this happens? What if this happens? Then make a plan. If that happens, I'm going to do this and this. You may not like it, but at least I've got a plan. But what if this happens? Then I'm going to do this or this, okay? And what if this happens? So no matter how many things you can imagine happening, going wrong, all you need to do is have at least one plan of attack. How you're going to handle it if that happens, all right? And then you'll find the fear just it doesn't affect you in a bad way. You basically, what you're doing is you're mastering that fear. You're saying you can't take control of me because I know what to do if any of these things happen. But the best news is that what you're afraid of, 99% of the time, is not going to happen. All right? And so you've got that in the back of your mind as well.
Yeah, that's true. Sometimes we are overthinking for things that are not happening or is not going to happen. I'm aware that you publish more than 20 books, including 5 children's books. Could you tell us, please, how important it is to write and publish a book to be more visible in the marketplace, because we are living in a very competitive and crowded market?
When you publish a book, it changes your life.
Yeah.
You can write all the books you want. If it doesn't get published, nobody knows about it.
Writing the book and hiding under the table.
Okay, yeah, it's got to be published. All right, and I was teaching English in China, and then when I came back to Australia 10 years ago, I thought, what can I teach here? Because I enjoyed teaching. And I thought, well, I'll teach writing. And 3 of those children's books that you mentioned were actually written by 7 and 8-year-old children. All right? So they wrote the stories, I illustrated the books and published them. Now those 3 students, I still teach them. Okay? They're 10, 11 years old now. Okay? They're still with me and they're brilliant writers because it's life-changing. When you know you can write, you know, anything's possible. Now, looking at it in a business sense, right? You've got a business, right? Somebody wants to, you have a prospect. You want to give them something. So you take your business card out and you say, that's me. And they think, oh, that's nice. And they put it away, maybe don't even look at it again. All right? But if you can pick up a client and that client's going to be worth thousands of dollars to you over time, give them your book.
Yeah.
All right? You've got 10 prospects, you give them 10 books, you don't charge them for it. You can't make money selling books in that sense, but as a marketing tool, it's unstoppable, okay? So what happens with a book, it takes you out of what I say is obscurity and makes you an expert in your field. You got people like Robert Kiyosaki, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. You know, all business people know this book. Well, why? Because the book is business related, okay? And when somebody wants to invest, all right, and they want the expert, they think, well, why don't I contact Robert? I'll get him to help me out with purchasing a property or whatever, okay? And then there's other people like John Gray, who wrote Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus, okay? When it comes to relationships, you're going to pay more to hear his advice rather than somebody who gave you a business card. Oh, I'm a relationship expert. That's the power of having a book, all right? When I started writing books, my life changed. And then what my mission is now is to help people write their own books. I'm helping young children, but I want to help adults. I want to help businesses. Now, this is not my... It could be what I call a brand book for me, okay? My brand book is Sip, Write, Publish, a cozy guide to publishing for new authors. And that's something that a reader can read, okay, and know every step they need to take to get from the idea stage all the way through to selling their book.
James, if we know how important it is to write a book and publish it, why still many people, especially business owners, are not doing this strategy?
I think people see, especially business owners, if we want to focus on that area, they see a book as being a cost. They don't realize it's really a marketing tool. They figure that, if they publish a book, how many books do they have to sell to make it worthwhile? You know, and that's the last thing they should be thinking, you know, because you're not going to make money, you know, making $2 or $3, $4 profit on on the sale of each book. I mean, that's not how a book is supposed to be used as a business tool. But because you've got a book, now they want you to become a guest speaker at an event, or you can pick up a client who's going to, you know, give you thousands of dollars of business over the years, okay? That's the true value of having your own book, okay? And of course there's a thing, oh, but I can't write, and what do I know about publishing and so forth. That's why with my book, Sip, Write, Publish, I basically say, look, go through all 14 chapters, do as many of these things as you can yourself, but if you find that you're stuck at 1 or 2 or 3 or more of the steps, contact me. My details in the back of the book, okay? All right, and I'll help you out. That's how a book helps.
Do people need to be an expert writing?
Oh, no. Okay. If they are, great. You can do all the writing yourself, all right? You know, there's different, and there's a chapter in the book on that, okay? You can write it all yourself, edit it all yourself, and then you come to me and say, look, I want it as a book. No problem. I'll just organize the cover design, I'll do the book layout, and I'll publish the book. Easy, all right? Then some people say, well, I want to write the book, but I need some help. Well, I've got writing courses, okay? They can do a writing course, something that maybe once a week we can get together, and over the week they can say, write a chapter of their book. Maybe over 10 weeks they'll have 10 chapters, depending on how big their book needs to be. Or they can say, look, I have no idea, all right? And I can say, well, let's get together for a question answer session, like an interview, like we're doing now, okay? I'll ask you some questions and you tell me your answers, okay? And I'll just take some notes and I'll expand it, like a ghostwriter, if you like, okay?
Yeah.
And then when I come back, I'll say, have a look at this, read it, tell me, am I on the right track here? Do I need to change something? And it'll go back and forward until the person is actually happy with the content, and then we publish it.
What about the person has the manuscript, bring it to you? How long is it going to take to be published?
It depends on how busy I am at the time. Within a month.
Oh, that's
sometimes, good. A lot shorter than that also.
That's good. 1 month that's good. Would you like to add anything before we finish? How can people contact you as well?
Okay. First of all, I have as I mentioned before, I have a book called Sip, Write, Publish, and that takes everyone through the steps that it requires to publish a book. In the back of the book are all my details. Essentially, if you contact me by email, it's jamestaris@gmail.com. And I'm also on LinkedIn, if you want to contact me through LinkedIn, James Taris again. So, can I present this book to you? I know that you've asked me a few questions about good fear and bad fear. I'd like you to accept that.
Oh my God, thank you very much, James. Good fear, bad fear for winners. Oh my God, tell me a little bit about this book, please.
Yeah, as you can see, it says if you master these 24 fears, let me get the wording right.
24 fears.
Master these 24 fears for unlimited power and success. And there's the 24 fears.
How do you find 24 fears?
Well,
I've actually more or just 24 fears.
Okay, there's I researched fear, and I found that there's about 96 fears that I could isolate. And from those fears, I mean, I don't cover things like the fear of height or the fear of snakes and things like that. I focus on the fears that people have, which are personal development related. Fear of failure, fear of imperfection, fear of rejection, fear of public speaking, those sorts of things, which are what a business person would be looking at overcoming. All right, fear of other people's opinions.
Yeah,
things like
a big
that,
one.
Fear of criticism, fear of ridicule, all those fears are covered in that book.
So you pick the most important and useful things that we need to learn, the fear of failure. Yeah, it's a big one because, as you say before, people don't start doing things because of fear. I'm going to invest money, or probably no one is going to buy my book, no one is going to read my book. And a lot of stories behind that they are not true. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I'm going to read and enjoy this book, Good Fear, Bad Fear. Thank you very much, James, for being in the podcast. It was a pleasure and honor to have you here.
It was my pleasure too. Thank you.
Thank you very much, everyone. We had an amazing episode, an amazing topic. I hope you enjoyed. See you next time. It was Gabi Company in Melbourne, Australia. Bye.